I'm super excited to see you on this season 2 of Twenties. What can you tease about your character and how she joined this amazing group of ladies?
Oh wow. I think that Vanessa is sort of she's like a helicopter parent, but she's a sister.
Hmm.
So she sees all the things in Nia that she wishes she could lean into,
Hmm.
but doesn't think are like good or healthy for her. But how do I describe this? But she tries her best to impart the unhealthy things that are probably like more acceptable by their family or by society for Nia to, I guess, layer on her own life.
Hmm.
So I guess, yeah, she's a bit uppity and bossy, but really wants to sprinkle a little bit of Nia's like boho and relaxed vibe onto her own life.
Because coming on
Hopefully
to,
that's a good description.
yes, it is. Because coming on to Twenties, were you familiar with the show and the characters?
Yes, I'm very familiar with the show. Lena Waithe is a dear friend of mine. She's one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I've I've known about the show and I've been part of many iterations of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nia character is based on me as the real Nia.
Yeah.
So it's just been really magical to be a part of this new version of the show and to play Nia's sister and just to be a part of um, the way that the show has been reformed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've been a part of it for quite a long time.
Because when you say with Nina's character and it's based off your life, how is that? What was your reaction to actually seeing it on screen and seeing it on TV now?
Yeah, well, it's changed a lot since
Mm-hmm.
um, the version that Lena created years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a lot more laid back. She's very bohemian. I think that the character before was a bit more like straight laced
Mm-hmm.
and a bit more poised and polite. And I think that the new version of Nia is much more grounded and she has a freer flow and a much more open-minded outlook on life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you work
Yeah.
with you work with so much talent on that show. How was it working with the cast? And, just being on set and experience that, for the first time.
It is such a warm set. Um, I didn't really know what to expect. And I had worked on Dear White People before, where like it's like a family and it's such a tribe and community.
Mm-hmm.
But and Christina Elmore, who plays Marie on the show, is a really close friend of mine. So it was good to walk in knowing that she would be there. But from the very first day, it felt like I was there last season and the season before. It just felt like an instant sisterhood and friendship. The girls are great. And Susan Fales Hill runs a really tight ship and it's just a really well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was great being there.
Because when you play your character, how do you relate to your character on this journey she's taking during this time of her life?
Vanessa is quite far removed from how my life is now. Like she's a married woman. She is an older sister. I'm an only child. So some of these things are a bit removed from who I am as like a real person.
Mm-hmm.
But although I'm an only child, I have really strong sisterhood. So I know what it's like to be a sister. And that's honestly the thing that I loved the most about it. Like my favorite moments working on the show were the moments that I got to be Nia's big sister. I think that being a Black woman, being a Black girl, there's just something that just fills in the gap instantly.
Mm-hmm.
That just like there is an episode where I'm like oiling her scalp and she's sitting between my knees and I'm like parting her hair and detangling it and oiling her scalp. And even though I'm an only child and not a sister, I'm still like a sister and I know what that's like. And so there's something really special about that.
Because what do you think audiences will enjoy most about your character this season?
I think that having a bit of insight in what it's like to visit the girls' families a bit. And I guess I'm included in that because I'm Nia's sister. So I think it's a surprise that they're probably not expecting for her sister to show up. And I also, some of the better things about it I can't share, but I guess seeing the dynamic between Nia and Vanessa, I guess that's the most interesting thing. I think that people that love the show and that love the Nia character want to get to know her better. And I guess meeting her family is that way. And I also think that something really interesting and special about it would be that my character goes in there thinking that she's doing something. And I think that she learns a lot from Nia too. And I think that that is a bit of a spark and something that is unexpected.
Because being on a show like Twenties, how would you say you navigated life during your 20s so far?
Oh, wow. I think that navigating your 20s are really hard, is a really hard thing to do. And I think that when you're a teenager, you think that your 20s will be so easy to figure out. But I think when you're in your 20s, you realize that people in their 20s also don't have it figured out, or probably in their 30s or 40s. I think we're all always learning and growing. And I think that when you're in a place that's different, it looks like other people know what they're doing. But I think adulting as a whole is something that even if you're 80, you still don't quite have it figured out all the way. You might be wiser than people younger, but I still think that what we envision as being whatever the decade is, when you get there, it really isn't exactly what you thought it would be anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We know Dear White People final season came to Netflix last month, and I miss seeing your face on the screen. What did it mean to be such a part of the show, and what do you miss the most about that experience?
Dear White People is so special to me. It is the launching pad that helped move my career. It is Justin Simeon is my brother, and the cast is a family. It is my tribe, my community. Being a part of that show and what it means to us as a culture and how it was used during the pandemic as like an educational tool and like being anti-racist. It is so much. As an actor, you want to work and you want to do things that are fun with people that you like, but knowing that you get to reach into people's hearts and change them and tickle their brains and make them think, and they have conversation after they watch a show, is just icing on top of the cake. And that is what it felt like to be a part of that show. It's very special and dear to me. And I got to play with my friends. Like, what's better than that? Yeah, so I'm really excited for them, and the show is great, and I really missed it too. So, yeah.
You know, besides being a part of Twenties this season, is there any other projects that you're working on that people should be on the lookout for?
Yes, but we'll have to wait and see.
Oh my God.
So I think we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Is there a project that you want to in the future be a part of that maybe it may not be drama, but it could be more comedy or action? Or is there something that you want to do that you haven't done recently, or just in general?
Yes. In general, like, I guess they're career goals. So I really want to see people that look like me, and I would love to be the vessel that that gets to be like Black amazing girls and women in sci-fi and in fantasy and in period film. That is, that's what I want my life's work to be filled with. And I also do a really good blonde. And I think it's really interesting when that blonde is chocolate dipped.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I'd love to live in other times and decades and other worlds or portals that don't exist. And I think that it's really important for us as like people of color, but just also for the world to see us live in those other spaces. Mm-hmm. So sci-fi and fantasy and period are what I really want the crux of my work to do as an artist to be.
So do you see yourself directing one day?
I don't know if I see myself directing, but I really want to creatively produce. So I would love to sort of in the way that Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon have done, mm-hmm. taking books or other people's life stories that I believe in, mm-hmm. and push them forward into creative projects that I can then plop myself into. I would love to make those things come alive.
Because what book would you transform into a movie?
Oh, wow. So a book that I would transform into a movie. That's a really good question. A book that I love is called Breath, Eyes, Memory by Edwidge Dandicat. Mm-hmm. And she's a Haitian author, and it's a story of her life. I'm from Trinidad, but I'm Caribbean, and I think that they're fun, interesting stories that I would love to see told. Mm-hmm. But I also would love to, a story that I think is really interesting that I love, which I don't know how I would even be a part of it, but I would still love to produce. Eartha Kitt was Catwoman in the original Batman series set in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see that story be told from that perspective within that time. So I know that there are many different versions of Catwomen and even Catwomen of color, but I think that showcasing that Catwoman character in that 50s genre would be really dope.
I can see it. I don't know what to say, but I'm here for it if you do. Oh my goodness. Because what has been the biggest takeaway that you always keep in mind when, playing certain roles or just finishing a project?
I want to make sure that I have fun. And I also think that being part of Dear White People taught me that I can do a project that is on the pulse of things that are happening currently in our life, things that matter, and be a working actor at the same time, which I think is my purpose and my calling. And I think that if it doesn't fill up that space and it doesn't change things, I don't really want it. So I think there's a way to have both. And so I'm making it my business to choose projects that allow me to have an impact on our culture and on the world and have fun and be an actor that works as well.
Because was there something you want to say to anybody that has supported you along the way, like your fans or just people in general? Do you have anything encouraging to say to them?
Wow, something encouraging. I think that there are two things. I think that I would encourage other artists that are performing artists to treat their art like athletes do. They work out a lot and they always have a coach, and they're constantly working on it every single day. Mm-hmm. And I think that when I had a better understanding of that, my work changed. I think it's more than just thinking about it every day. And then when you get an audition, working on that. Yeah. I think putting your work up in front of other artists or a coach or a teacher on a consistent basis is really important. And I also think staying the course and going through a window when doors are closed and just continuing to push through is really important. Mm-hmm. And I also would love to remind artists that this is a business. And finding the proper team and community to support that and living your life with other artists is really important to make it work. I don't think that your talent is not enough. It's a combination of lots of things. Mm-hmm. And I think that remembering that this is a business is really important.
Because have your support system been there throughout everything and supported you through every project, everything you worked on?
Absolutely. I do life with Ashley Blaine Featherson and Justin Simeon and Lena Waithe. And I think that my life would be very different if I didn't have people that have a similar mindset to me, and just as a support, and not just within our work and within business, just in life. I think having a support system and a truth and a depth of friendship that's like family is really important for life in general. But I think as an artist, to do this well, you need that, because it's not, it's very layered, and to, I don't know how to describe this, to turn your passion into your purpose and make a life out of it, you need to have truth in your community, to support that in a way that that doesn't, this industry is very, it's so crazy. I want to say words, but it makes it a lighter, it makes the road a bit softer. There's a soft place to land and an understanding when you have community, and it's important when you're navigating art as your life.
For sure. Because even when you're on, like, playing Vanessa on 20s and having that support system, are, you know, her and Nina, are they having that support system? Or are they having talks where we see on screen where they're, you know, you have your sister, times where you fight, times where you just laugh and have fun? Are those moments on the show between the two of you that we can see that is just like, wow, like, these are sisters, they love each other. Yeah, they may argue and fight, but at the end of the day, they love each other?
Absolutely. They're definitely arguing and fighting, but it's all rooted in love, and it's very evident in the way that the show is built, which I think is beautiful. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was great. Your questions were great too.
Where is the buzz?
Oh, yeah.
Where is the buzz? You said was mine, oh, mine.
Where is the buzz?
Ooh.